Good morning. Thank you for joining us on Center Stage, Nonprofits of Tucson. We get to hear about really cool things that are happening in Tucson and ways that you can get involved in the community and give back and really be part of something big, something that is changing lives. And, you know, today we have a really good show for you. We're going to talk about some kids that really could use a little bit of encouragement and just a little bit of support. And so it's going to be a really great episode. I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves, but we are talking about CASA of Pima County and the CASA Support Council for Pima County. So let me have you guys go ahead and introduce yourself and tell just a little bit about who you are and how you're connected.
Good afternoon, Danielle. Thank you for inviting us here. My name is Lisa Bibbins. I'm a commissioner on the juvenile court bench. I have served as a judicial officer on the juvenile court since 2018, and I work on a daily basis with CASAs and with young people who are involved in the juvenile child welfare system because they have been removed from their homes either due to abuse, neglect, or other safety reasons.
Good morning. I am Stephanie Chavez, and I am the CASA program supervisor for Pima County. And so I oversee our 200 volunteers along with 10 of our staff at the juvenile court. And that's what I do.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Linda Corral, and I am the executive director of the CASA Support Council for Pima County, Inc. And we are the people who have the privilege of supporting the CASA program and the CASA children and the CASAs who come to us with the need for services for these children. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for being here. And, I'm going to say the first time that I heard about the program was a few years ago. And when I heard about it, I was thinking, what a cool opportunity for someone that likes kids and that, wants to encourage kids that just need a little bit of extra support and that want to be part of really impacting someone's life. There are a lot of opportunities where a small gesture or small, time commitment can really make a significant impact on someone's life. And I feel like this is a really good opportunity for that. Can you tell us a little bit more about the program and kind of how it works, volunteering and how you're getting matched with the kids that are needing someone?
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk about that. So CASA of Pima County was established in 1979, and we were actually the second program in the nation and the first program here in the state of Arizona. And with that, these are volunteers that are called CASAs, so they are court-appointed special advocates. And they're appointed by a judge to represent the best interests of children, foster children that have experienced abuse and or neglect. And these children have been removed from their homes, so they are currently living in a group home, a foster home. They could be in a kinship placement, which is usually a close friend or family member as well. And what is so important about our CASA volunteers is that they are matched with a child or children. There could be siblings as well. And they are that one positive adult in their life and also provide that healthy relationship for the child. Many times our foster children are moved from home to home, or they experience many changes when it comes to case managers or therapists or judges or attorneys. And so the volunteer is that one consistent adult that is always there, that shows up for them. They're there advocating on their behalf and making sure that they are receiving services. How are they doing in school? Is there any needs that they might have? And they're able to advocate and talk to the judge through court hearings about every 3 to 4 months or so, and really talk about who this child is or children and their needs and wishes, and really to make sure that they are, the case is moving forward, and is it family reunification to become that, safe, permanent home for these children?
That last little bit is one of the things that I thought of the most as I was kind of thinking about today's show, which is that safety aspect. For a child who isn't used to having a safe place or having that safe adult, this is a really important thing for them to know that there is someone who's safe, who they can count on, who they can talk to, that, they can share the things that they actually need. They can share what's going on and not to have that fear. And I think sometimes, as adults, we don't really realize how difficult that would be to navigate that situation as a child and not knowing, not having that stable person. It's a really difficult situation for these kids.
One of the things I was struck with, I went to a training a couple of years ago, and they had a panel of 5 youth who had aged out of the foster care system, and they were all either working full-time or attending college. Each of those youth, when they presented and shared their stories with us, shared how critically important it was for them to have the one stable adult in their lives. For some of those young people, it was a family member. For several of the youth, it was having a CASA. And each of them identified how critically important that was to allow them to go through what for many youth is a really frightening time. There can be, as Stephanie indicated, there can be substantial turnover. You might have turnover with your Department of Child Safety caseworker. You might have turnover with placements. For many of these youth, they've been removed from their home environment. They may have change from one school to another. So much of their life is marked by transition, uncertainty. A CASA really has an incredibly important role to give these young people stability, to have someone that they know will be returning to their life either weekly, monthly, depending on the contact schedule that CASA has set up. And when I think many of us look back at our lives, what has been helpful is to have one or more parents when we were growing up, to know that parent was attuned to our emotions. That parent was observing what was happening with us in school. They were familiar with our friends. They were there to provide us with guidance and stability as we went through high school, helped us plan for what we wanted to do after high school, helped us learn how to apply for employment. The CASA can do that, and I've seen it in so many cases. And when we do CASA swearing-in ceremonies, I mention each and every time that truly a CASA has the chance to change the trajectory of a young person's life. I see it all the time, and I think these youth are incredibly fortunate and appreciative when they have a CASA that they can work with.
So can you tell us a little bit more about what that means if someone is listening and they're thinking about possibly volunteering? What would that look like? How do they get started?
Yes, so to become a CASA volunteer, you have to be 21 years and older to do that. We just ask that you're a U.S. citizen or permanent legal resident. You have to pass a background check and attend pre-service training. And so with that, you could go to our website, casaofpimacounty.org, and you can find out our application is right there, and there is more information regarding becoming a volunteer. So our CASAs, you're looking at not only, do you do about pre-service training, but then you are expected to, visit the youth, the child at least once a month. You also will attend other types of meetings. So child and family team meetings, you have your court hearings. So you're looking at about 10 to 15 hours a month that you would dedicate to being a CASA. And it's really something you can choose to do it kind of at that level, or we have many of our CASA volunteers that do a lot more, because you can make the schedule, as Judge Bibbins was talking about, of how many times you want to see your child and go out on visits and, get out there in the community and just really to bond and have that relationship with each other.
And then as they're matched with a child who's going through this some of them I imagine are slightly shorter cases and some of them are much longer. Is there maybe an average time frame that someone's usually working with a child? Or, I mean, I know it's really dependent on the case, so it's kind of a hard question. But, I mean, are there short term and then long term potentially?
I would say certainly every case, the cases vary. I've seen cases as short as where CASAs have been involved for less than a year, and then some cases are multiple year cases. So much of it is fact specific. I've also seen many cases where a CASA will complete with one child. For instance, a child ages out or reunifies, and then that CASA will volunteer again and take on a new family or a new sibling group.
And does one CASA, if they wanted to help two different families at the same time, are they able to do that, or is it one family at a time?
Oh, our CASA volunteers, they can take multiple cases if they choose. We actually would like that because of the amount of children we do have in care compared to the number of volunteers we have. So currently, we have 2,162 children in care. And with that, we have 202 volunteers. Wow. So really the call for needing more CASA volunteers is something that we're always wanting and hoping for, just because, our foster children every foster child deserves to have a CASA in their life.
We are just wrapping up this segment. Can you please give us the website if someone wanted to reach out and volunteer?
Yes, it's casaofpimacounty.org, or you can call 520-724-2060.
Okay, thank you so much. This has been really good information. When we come back, we will talk a little bit more about the nonprofit side that supports the program that allows for these volunteers to be part of the kids' lives. So stick around. We'll be back in just a minute. We are back with Linda and Stephanie, and we spent the first segment talking a little bit about the program of CASA of Pima County and how there are volunteers who are able to partner with kids that are in foster care that are going through some kind of a situation, oftentimes because of abuse or neglect, or some reason why they have been removed from the home. And so they're in a very vulnerable situation. They are needing a lot of help. And so we were able to hear a little bit about just the program itself. And we were actually really lucky. We had Judge Bibbins in here for that first segment, and it was great to have her in here so she could share her perspective. And so we really appreciate her being here. But now, as we're moving into the second segment, we're going to talk a little bit more about the nonprofit side and how that works with CASA of Pima County. So again, we have Linda and Stephanie here. So Linda, can you just tell us a little bit about the nonprofit side and, a little bit about how the nonprofit works and how long you've been a nonprofit?
Okay, thank you. So the CASA Support Council for Pima County, Inc. has been a nonprofit for 20 years. Wow. And that's with the federal government. At the state level, we have been a qualifying foster care charitable organization, which is the tax credit program with the Arizona Department of Revenue for about 6 years. And so what we do is really support the CASA of Pima County program, the CASA volunteers, and the CASA children that both Stephanie and Judge Bibbins spoke about.
And what are some of the services that you are providing to the CASA children? So
traditionally, when a CASA gets matched with a CASA child, the first thing they're looking at is what are the physical needs that the child has. Sometimes children are removed from their home and all they have is the clothing on their backs. So we do provide them clothing, school clothing primarily, but also jackets and things that whatever else they need, as well as personal hygiene items.
And are those clothes, are they all new? Do you take donations of new or used clothing? Do you buy it per child as the need comes up?
Well, actually, we don't have a place to store used clothing, although there is a place where foster placements can go once a month and get clothing. But most of it is new clothes for the kids, and the CASA actually goes with the child and can pick them out.
Oh, how fun.
Yes.
That's a really cool little perk.
Yes.
That's nice. What are some of the other opportunities or services that you're providing to the kids and their families?
So on an ongoing basis, we provide many things that we hope will enrich the child's life. And the statute that supports qualifying foster care charitable is aiming for normalcy with these children. So when they leave the program and age out or get adopted or legal guardianship, they will have had some growth experiences. Among those, we actually have community memberships so that the children can attend Reed Park Zoo. They can go to golf and stuff. They can go to the Children's Museum, and they can go on a variety of outings that are available in the community. We have quite a list on our website about activities, so we do provide those. As well, there are special things that the children might have wanted but never were able to participate in due to their family situation. So the CASAs will apply for sports, so the kids can get involved in sports. They can get involved in art, music, anything that they would like to explore that costs some money and that the placement is not able to pay for. And we encourage the CASAs to view each child uniquely, so we don't have one thing for them, but that's up to the CASA to say, you know, my child is telling me about horseback riding. They always wanted to get involved with that, and so we're able to provide that for them. There are a couple things that we do for the children throughout the year, all of them. One of them is many of the children come into care and they've never really had a birthday party, and some of them don't even know when their birthday is. So each child gets a birthday card, a gift card, and the CASA can take the child shopping. And this is one time where they have some control in their life where they're making the decision. What is it I really want? Oh, I'd kind of like that Barbie toy. I saw it in the movie, or I kind of want this book, or I want something else. So the birthdays are a big thing for us, and we want to make sure that every child gets to celebrate their special day with their CASA. And the other thing is we have a holiday party every year in December, and that's sort of to celebrate, and some of them have not celebrated before, but either Kwanzaa or Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever it is that they celebrate. And all of the kids come to golf and stuff, and they can spend a whole day there, and they each get a teddy bear of their choice. Again, they pick it out. So that's something that all of them do. Several things that we provide that we think are really important are one-on-one tutoring. Many of the children that come into the CASA program have had issues. Either they have gone to school intermittently, or they've gone to many schools because their parents moved around, or they've been homeless. So they might have missed 2 years of school, 3 years of school, or whatever. And the minute they are in regular schooling, it becomes apparent and that they are behind. And we're primarily concerned with foundation skills like reading and math. So if they're ready to get into that, then the CASA recommends it and we get it started. Some of our children have been so traumatized that it might be best to get them stable first with their mental health and so forth. After all, they, have been removed. They have lost their pets, their families, their friends, their school, their religion, and sometimes the siblings are not placed with them. So tutoring is important and education is important, but it has to be appropriate timing for them. The other thing that every child is entitled to is a refurbished computer. At the time of the pandemic, all of our kids were working from home, and most of the schools could provide Chromebooks, which do break, and there's nobody there to fix them. And so we knew that we had to do something. So we do have a contract with Microsoft, and we get refurbished computers for every child. Even in the first grade, they are using computers. So that's a given. So the CASA requests that, and we order them and provide them. So those are some of the things we provide for basic things. I will say that there's an initiative underway from the Department of Child Safety to place more children in kinship homes. And that could be with family members, or it could be with friends of the family or distant relatives, whatever. And the advantages of that are that the children are with someone who loves them, that they probably have a relationship with. It's less stress on them, like where am I going, who am I going to be with, you'll be with grandma, and so on. But what happens is, most of the time, the kinship relatives have financial stress, and they might be on a fixed income or just a pension, and to automatically get 2 kids or 3 kids or 1 child into your home that you have to provide food for as well as other things is pretty difficult. But the food we found during the pandemic was critical. The children were not getting free lunch and free breakfast like they normally would get, as well all during the week and on the weekends. So we started giving out grocery cards to kinship families, 1 for each child that was in there. And we found out that as the prices were going up in groceries that we've all experienced, the kinships were saying we really need more. The CASAs were saying that. And our board just felt, we don't want any of our CASA children to go hungry. So we've increased it substantially, and we let our donors know that we're spending money on this, and we feel that it's well spent. And so we're really proud of those 2 specific programs, the kinship program and the tutoring, as well as all the other things that we provide that these children need.
So if a listener is thinking that they may want to get involved in this in some way, what would be the best ways for them to get involved, to be part of it, through the volunteering we talked about a little bit, becoming a CASA? What are some other ways as well to get involved?
They could get involved by making a donation that we would use for the children. And we do have many people who donate. They can go on our website, CASA Support Council, PIMA.org. And you can donate on the website or through PayPal.
And then you also mentioned that you qualify for the Arizona tax credit.
Yes.
So that is another way to give. What about things like gift cards?
Well, we do have a program, I'm glad you mentioned that, where we have a local grocery, Bashas', who has supported us for more than a dozen years. And every Christmas, we put up Christmas trees, artificial ones, in all the Bashas' stores. And those are the gift cards that we get that we use for the children's birthday cards and other incidental things. So that's a wonderful way to look at the tree. We have our plaque on there that talks about what we do, and it's a wonderful way to help us out so we can provide for many of the things that these children need.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We are going to wrap up a little bit, but can you give us, again, the website or a phone number if someone wanted to reach out to the nonprofit side for donations?
Sure. The website is CASA Support Council, PIMA.org, and the number is 520-575-5130.
And then Stephanie, can you give us the website again if someone wanted to volunteer?
Yes, it is casaofpimacounty.org.
Thank you so much, both of you, for being here. This is a really special program, and the kids, they really need to have someone who is there advocating for them. So if listening to this episode, you're thinking, maybe I could do that, I would definitely encourage you to find some more information, go sign up online. When you go through the training, it'll help you to really see where you fit and how you fit. So definitely get out there and do that. Support them at the holidays. It's a really, really good opportunity, and it really does help these kids and their families. I want to say thank you to our sponsors, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, and Indy Realty. And I want to remind you that if you would like to be on the show, you can reach out to me at Center Stage Tucson, and then also centerstagetucson@gmail.com. You can also call me at 520-373-6864 and give me a call if you have any real estate needs. I can help you out with that as well. Have a great week.